Share. And are we sharing this screen right now is the question. Okay, but I also can't see me, which is a little bit weird. Yes. All right. So here it is, 7:30. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started again. This is Ann Matuszak with Pixologie, and I'm going to take you through another step of forever training. If you were on last week, or if you've gotten a chance to watch the video since then, you know that starting your forever account is the best way to save, share, and celebrate your family memories and preserve your family legacy for your lifetime, plus generations to come. So what you should be seeing right now is my personal family forever account. We have opened up to the profile page, and just a quick review on how we got there. Up in this right-hand corner, you see where my mouse is at right now. You have a circle, and that is the picture that you see also right here. That is our profile picture. To the right of that are the 3 lines that some people call a hamburger that we can click on and get more information. So we can do all of the back office things that we talked about last week as far as account settings and order history and things like that, including creating wish lists and being able to see downloads and referring other people to join Forever, not necessarily join you in your account, but to start their own Forever account. We looked a little bit at the next 5 tabs that run across the top here: the library, albums, tags, projects, friends and family, and profile, which match the 5 that run down the side here. So there's a number of different ways to get places when you're in Forever. And we talked a little bit about the library last time, and now we're going to really do a bit more of a deep dive onto albums and tags. So to get to your Forever account, you are going to be going to forever.com, and you're going to look for Pixologie. Right up here, you can see in this teal turquoise colored band, you can see that Pixologie is the trainer. We are certified educators here at Pixologie, and we are then your partner in your Forever account, answering your questions, helping you with setups, and finding out solutions to problems that you might have. The other thing is you need to be aware that as your ambassador, we do receive a commission on the purchases that you make. That allows us the ability to take the time to create these videos and to work with you in other ways on your Forever account. So if you have signed in and you've confirmed that you are with your lead ambassador Pixologie, you're in great shape. Now, maybe you have gone ahead and put the app on your phone. And we will talk about that in a future lesson, because that needs to be a lesson all on its own. But if you're a tech person that loves to get everything on your phone to travel with you, you've probably gone to the Google Play Store or to your Apple Store and downloaded the app. And maybe you've played around a little bit, and you might have started adding some pictures to your account. Now, when you add photos to your account directly from something like your phone, they're going to go right into your library. They're not going to go into albums until you put them there. So when you go to your library, you will see, to me, you will see a mess. Your library is where every photo, slide, negative, video, audio, any type of file that you have used, anything you've added to your account, all lives in the library, and it always lives there. Even after you create albums, the library keeps everything, and it's kind of like the overall warehouse or the overall filing cabinet where everything is. Even if you put files into a folder into your filing cabinet, they still live in the filing cabinet as a whole. So when we go to the library, I'm going to show you my current mess. Today I took pictures of an interesting part of a project for a client. So you're going to see just some crazy pictures. And then you're going to see some things that have been uploaded from our phone or from our cameras. So there are different little memes that my husband added in. There's different pictures. There's even a credit card information in there. So your library holds whatever you've taken a picture of, and it is private to you unless you put it in an album that you're willing to share. Now, many times you have stuff in your library you're not going to share, like that little glimpse of a credit card that I showed you down there. So when you upload directly to the library, that gives you that kind of control over who can see things right away. However, if you keep dumping things in your library without putting them into albums, you're going to end up with all 104,000 items living in the library, kind of like being dumped in the bottom of your file cabinet without really having a home. So you may choose to create an album and then move things from your library into that album. Or if you know ahead of time that all of the things that you're going to be uploading belong in one album, you can create that album ahead of time. So let's look at both ways to do that. So I can create an album right here by clicking on albums and then clicking on new album. And you don't really need to know whose this is. So I'm just going to say client project. And the reason that it's here is before taking the book apart, we like to have reference photos done. It's the way we know that we haven't taken anything out of order. And so we keep these on file in our Pixologie account. But since I didn't have the Pixologie iPad handy, I used my phone. And so they uploaded here. So I created the album. I named it Client Project. The setting is going to be private because this is not something I'm sharing with friends and family. This is strictly for work, and it is client work. So I'm going to create that new album. And here's our album, and it's empty. So I can now go and find those files. And there's two ways to do that. I can go look for them and pull them into the album, or I can go back to the library and check all of them and push them into the album. So let's show you what I mean by that. We're going to click on add files, and add files means the pictures that I want, the images or whatever, are already in my Forever account. They're just not in this album. If they were just located somewhere on my computer, I would be hitting the upload button. But instead, when I click on add files, it's going to take me to my library. And my library is set up so that what I see is the date taken, newest items first. So these are the most recent things that need to be put away. There is a drop down here, so I could also be looking at the oldest, the upload date, by oldest or newest as well. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to grab all but one just so you can see what I'm talking about. And you click on the first one in that little circle up there and get a green check mark. I'm going to move down to the second to last one. I'm going to hold down my Shift key. Shift allows you to select everything between these two arrows and click on that. All of these have been selected. And then you look for the most informational buttons on Forever always seem to be in a nice bright green. So we say add selected and zoom. 34 files were added to this client project. Now, I might look at this and go, something is still missing. And so I can go to my library and take a look. Well, wait a minute, this shows everything I just uploaded. How does that help me? Well, your library can also be sorted. So right now my library says all files. Well, actually, I only want to be looking at the photos. I'm not going to be worried about videos or audio files or anything else right now. So I only want to look at photos. And now I only want to look at ones that are not in an album. So when I click that, all of a sudden, everything else that was there is gone. And I say, aha, here's that cover I was looking for. And so I can click that and say add to album. Well, which album? Now I just get to scroll through until I find that album that was entitled, probably flew right past it. Nope, they go numbers first. Client project. So when I click on that, it will automatically add it. And so you can continue to do that. And then sometimes, you know, when you're cleaning your library, you have that moment you go, oh, in the meantime, let me just delete this. Who knows what that was supposed to be. Oh, voided check. We don't need that in there either. So these are all the remaining pictures that need to find their way into an album. And some of them, like a picture of Pikachu, do not. So I do a lot of cleaning in my library before I move them, but sometimes I'll put them directly into the album and do my cleaning from there. My husband likes to take multiples of pictures, like these 4 in a row of the boys, because when you look at them larger, this is a great picture. It's cockeyed, which makes me a little crazy, but they look hysterical. This one, Mike is trying not to smile. That one's just them being weird. And this one's with funny faces. So I can go ahead and start deleting before I move them to my album or after. There's not a right or wrong. It's whatever you set your process up to be so that you do things consistently each time. I think sometimes it's less overwhelming to move them to an album and then have a controlled amount that I am going to be working with. And so I could do that with this birthday party right here. So I'm going to select all of these pictures from this birthday party by clicking on the first one, holding down my shift key and clicking on the last one. And yes, I know there's some weird little thing in the middle of here, but we're going to delete that. And I'm going to add these to an album. And it's going to go in a new album that I haven't even created yet. And that album is going to be 2020 because I like putting the year first. It falls into the right place. And it's going to be Bryce's birthday party. And this is fine to be seen by friends and family. And then I also like to add my year right away because it makes me feel more organized. And I'm going to add the date, which was, I miss looking at the date. There it is right up there, August 8th. It's August 8th. And we're going to add it to this new album. So all of those have been added. Now we're going to go down and look at that album. And that is going to be under the 20s. So we have 2010, 2020 Bryce's birthday. So let's click on that. And we have a series of pictures in here where we can really start cleaning up and deleting pictures out of this album. But the first thing I want to check on is what on earth is this? I do not need that. So I'm going to delete that right away. And then I'm going to delete this one because it doesn't add to the story. And I'm going to delete this one. And you just kind of go through and start cleaning things out because I do not need 34 photos from my nephew's, no, my niece's son's birthday. So it's like grandnephew, nephew once removed. I have to look at that again and remember the terms. But 34 pictures from that's going to be a little bit excessive. Now this is a cute picture. That one I'm going to keep. But otherwise, it's simply hitting delete and taking a look at the pictures and seeing what I actually want to keep. So like these far away water spray pictures, not really helpful. So as I'm deleting these and cleaning this up, you can see that I have my info toolbar open here on the side. And I can hide this by clicking on this tiny section on the top right that says hide info. But I almost always keep that open because as you go through pictures, every once in a while you find one that is an absolute favorite and I want to be able to hit that. I personally do not care what my photos are named. I have never really searched for photos by name, but I do care about descriptions. But I'm not going to type a description in on one picture when there's going to be 10 of them left over from that event. I care about the date taken, and these are dated correctly. The date uploaded isn't as important, and the file size tells me a little bit about how big I can make the image if I'm going to make a print of it. But the thing that's most important as I look at organizing the photos and being able to find them in the future, not just for me, but for future generations, is adding tags. So we're going to go back to looking at all of our albums here. And you see that we have albums and then our next category is tags. The reason that these are separate categories is they're both searchable areas, as well as your library is a searchable area. And these are other categories that we've talked about a little bit, but in your library, you saw before that we can change and search by or order them by when they were taken. We can filter them by year and by month. And then from that, we can also filter by what's in an album, what's not in an album, what's a favorite. There's a lot of ways to really break that down and filter it to help me find what I'm looking for, because really a photo isn't saved unless you can actually find it. There's no point to just having, oh, they're all in my computer, or, oh, they're all in forever. There's 100,000 of them and I can't find any of them, but they're there. That's really not what we want for you. And we certainly don't want to be doing that to our future generations. So we're going to go back to our albums. And we're going to look at tags. What is wonderful about tags is they exist across your entire library. So it's not just one album or one section or one area. So when I tag a person or a place or a style of event, it's going to look for where I put that word anywhere in the library. So if you are someone that wants to find all of the wedding pictures that you have taken over the years, these are all the categories that I have used wedding. Now, how I have sledding and wrestling in there, I think it's going for similars as well. But mostly we want to look at this and say, oh, okay, so if I want just Katie's wedding pictures, here's that. If I just want Jessica's, here's that. I can also have put all of the wedding pictures in one tag. Another really common tag for events is Christmas. And so Christmas, you can see I've got a couple suggestions from the program. Did I mean any of these? And that's no. But I have general Christmas stuff. I can't always explain the logic on how I started some of these tags, but I have many years of cleaning to do in here. I've been using this prior to using Forever. I used one of the desktop programs called Historian, and I tagged, tens of thousands of pictures in there. And so sometimes my thought process was a little bit unique. What I'm going to encourage you to do is to think of your tags as, what do I want to be able to find? And since we know that we're going to have dates on our pictures, we don't have to add dates and years on those unless the pictures are not dated correctly. Whole separate issue. But if they're dated correctly, I don't need a tag that says December 1995. I can go and just look at pictures that were specifically from Christmas. Now, if I'm going to be making an album, I will often create a tag that's specific to that project so that I can go back and just scoop all those pictures up at once and go ahead and import them into a print project or bring them into my desktop program, Artisan. But what's most fun is being able to tag people. And so over time, I have found that there are some tags that are very unhelpful. And one of them is the tag mom. Mom is very meaningful to me, and I'm sure it's a meaningful tag to you as well. But I always have to look at what I'm tagging with the mindset of 3 generations from now, what will this mean to them when I'm not here to explain my unique thought process? So tags that say mom really need to be changed to the actual name. Excuse me, a little dry throat here. They should be changed to the name of mom. So let's see who I tagged as mom here. And in this case, I can see that these are all tagged with my mom. And so I can help overcome that tag by clicking on all of the pictures, the first one, all the way to the last one. And I'm going to add a different tag. And if you see up here at the toolbar again, I can do anything I want with these photos. I could add them to one album and create an album of just my mom with my kids through the years and Christmas and whatever. I could share this and send them all to anyone I want with just a single click. I can download them into my computer. I can edit the info. So this is if I were going to write a description or change dates taken. But what I want to do here is add a new tag. And so the tag I'm going to add is I look forward and think about the past. So I want to add a tag for women that includes the maiden name, because without that, it's going to be really difficult for someone to find the person we're looking for. Women's last names and sometimes men's last names can change over the years. And so when I first started doing this and being more deliberate with my tags, I went a little overboard and I tagged it with my mom's maiden name, my last name when before my father died, and then her current last name. I could have stuck with Marie Annette Schauer, and I would have known who that was. But some people like to put the maiden name in parentheses because they're tagging a lot of adult pictures and they want that married name in there. So by adding this tag to all of them, my mom's now all correctly tagged for all 3 of these. And what I'm going to do to this mom tag is delete it. I'm not deleting my mom. I'm deleting the tag, and it says, are you sure you want to do this? It will not delete the files, but the tag will be removed. So we're going to go ahead and remove that tag, and we no longer have the incredibly useless tag of mom or the tag Aunt Jane or Uncle Buck, or whatever your uncle's nickname is, because while that's incredibly meaningful to you and tells you who he is, make sure the real given birth certificate name is somewhere in your account, because you're going to be doing your future generations so much of a favor. Let's go ahead and check the other big one. Let's go to Dad. So Dad got really messy because I have Dad, and then I realized Dad wasn't good, so I went to Dad Finley. Well, that's just still really lame. And then I have Dad Matuszak from my father-in-law. So again, you kind of get the idea of how we do this. We click on the tag information, and this is interesting because these 2 that say Dad are actually my husband These are my father. I don't know who this is for that tag, but let's just grab this couple right here. These are all my dad. So I'm going to take these three and I'm going to add a tag, and I'm going to tag it with Wayne Finley. And you can see it came up here. Now, another thing that you might want to consider when you're tagging is that you might want to add middle names as well. And I find that I've been helping some cousins work on things, and they have one side of the family that goes to senior, junior, the third, the fourth, and the other side goes to the fifth generation of someone with the same name. And while that's wonderful and very meaningful, you want to make sure that you're getting that senior, junior, the third, the fourth, the fifth added there. Another family I'm working with, they keep the same first name, but there's a different middle name for each generation. So it's, you know, John James Smith, John Robert Smith, John Douglas Smith, and so on. And so that middle name becomes critical in being able to identify who that person is in the future. So I have to click at this one just to see what's going on here. Oh, see, I think we're assisting with football at the sidelines. And this was taken in 2005. And so we added this dad, which does not need to be there because we have Scott Matuszak already tagged. We have football tagged, which is a pros and cons sort of tag. I have two sons that played football, but I also attended some Badger games and Packer games. So football can be a pretty broad category. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete the tag dad from that photo. And then when I go back, it's going to go back in here, but that photo, as you can see, is suddenly gone. So if you have questions about tagging or what we're doing with this or how this works, feel free to pop that in the chat box on the side, and I'll be glad to take a look at that and answer any questions you might have. One of the things that you may be wondering is, can I tag more than one thing at once? Not just more than one photo at once, but can I add more than one tag at once? Now, these may already be done, but I'm going to do this grouping anyway, and it'll tell me when I get done. So in these 5 pictures, we can see the same 2 people in every picture, which tells me I should probably delete some of them, but they're so cute. So I'm going to add tags to these. And the first one is going to be Scott Matuszak, who pops right up here. And you can see it blocks that right away as soon as I hit enter, and I can go on to my next tag, which is going to be Dante Matuszak. And then I'm going to just add the horseback riding as a tag, because that was something that we didn't do often, and it might be fun to find the pictures through the years, as my son Dante is now almost 20 years old and is no longer sharing a horse with his father. So now when I click on one of these pictures, we're going to remove that dad tag, and so you can see Dante, horseback riding, Scott Matuszak, and I did tag it with the location, yay me, and it says Tunnel Trails 2005. Now, I've learned for better organization and better ability to see things, I always want to put the date first, preferably the year, because that way we can sort by that. So I would probably go in and edit this tag. And right here, all I did was click on the tag. Let me go back there again. No, actually, I didn't go back there. Hold on. So Tunnel Trails 2005. What would make these much more logical to sort, because we don't want to sort alphabetically. We want to sort chronologically. So we sort alphabetically. Christmas comes as much too early in the year. April becomes your first month of the year, and Christmas is your third event of the year. And that, while maybe fun to go that direction, it's not how life works. So I'm going to edit this tag name, and all I'm going to do is delete the 2005 and move it to the front. So this changes its location in the tags. But that way I did all 142 pictures at once, and that is fabulous. Anything that makes organizing easier is a great option. So tags, people can have more than one tag. Sometimes we use multiple tags for a person because it might make it much easier to sort. So you can see right here, I have a Sarah Matuszak that has a 25 in front of it. Now I could have just Sarah Matuszak, and then I'd have to go through and find all of her basketball pictures, because while it is on the list of something that will be happening soon, currently we cannot sort by 2 tags at the same time in Forever. I can do it in Historian, that desktop program, but in the online program Forever, I can only sort by 1 tag. So if I want all of Sarah's basketball pictures together, I put the 25 in front of it. And that way I know that these are Sarah, but these are all Sarah just with basketball pictures. And you notice, because numbers come before letters, that you're going to see a lot of other people with that, with numbers in front of their name. And it's because they were also basketball players. So I did not do that with my son's football because he changed numbers and basketball and so on and so forth. But you can end up with pages of tags because there's just so many different things. And the more specific that you get, the more detailed, the more things you have the ability to search for and find. And that just makes your account that much more accessible and specific. I even have a recipe tagged in here because I love this recipe and I always forget it. And so it's in here and it's tagged and I know where to find it. Eventually, I should probably have an album of recipes, but for right now, it's floating around out in whatever year that I took that picture. What's great about tags is, even though there are so many in here, I can type in any word and search for that tag. So I don't have to scroll all the way to the bottom all of the time. So your tags are what helps you find the different things you're looking for. But more than just that, I can take a tag and say I want to create an album now from this tag, but they're not all in the same place. Maybe they've been scattered for whatever reason. They should be in the same place because this is all from the same event. But let's choose a different example. Say I want to make an album of Sarah's basketball. And you can see here she's in a black uniform. Here she's in a white uniform. I may even have some of them where she's in another team, but these are a couple different ones here. And so I can use this tag and I can go ahead and create a print project right from that tag, or I can select all of these photos from this tag, click on the first, hold down the shift, click on the last, and I can create an album. So now if you have someone in your family that you want to share all the pictures that you have ever taken of Grandma Jones, you can tag her through all of your photos without having to move them around and try to figure out where you're going to put them all. You can just tag her, and when you're done, you can click on that tag, Grandma Jones, and select them and create an album that says Grandma Jones. And that makes it really easy for any of your friends and family that you're sharing the album with. So they can see those pictures and they will have the opportunity to download them, print them, or they can even just copy the pictures that they want the most into their own account. The best part of that is no more will someone take a picture out of your album and never put it back. There's no more you making copies and you make copies of 500 wedding pictures and someone's going to pay you back and somehow that never happens and you feel irritated, but you don't want to say you owe me for those pictures, you know, and it just can become a real source of family frustration. So tags and creating albums allows you to share things really easily. Now you might have wondered, can I share just directly from a tag? And the answer is yes, you can. So I have 3 pictures from 4th of July here. And say I went to these fireworks with someone, which I actually did. I can go ahead and select all 3 of them and I can hit share. When I hit share, this would allow me to copy the link and send it by email. I could post it right on Facebook, or I could send it by Messenger. And anyone with this link can view and download these files in full resolution. So very easy to start sharing things, or, you know, posting your Throwback Thursday pictures, or whatever you might want to do with them. You can also go ahead and order your prints right from this screen. Anytime you have that nice green button over here, you can do those kind of things. So when you are creating albums, we're going to go back one more time to albums. And I really love some of the way the icons display now on our albums, because what you can do with albums is you can nest them. That means you can put them under the proper category or heading, because when you think about having an entire lifetime of photos, and maybe you've been blessed enough to have the entire photo collection of 1 or 2 generations before you, you would end up with a lot of individual albums. And even just going by decade, you can see 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000. Well, I took kind of a lot of pictures in 2000. At that point, we had 4 children at home and yeah, very busy time. So what you can do is create your album and then you can nest another album underneath there. So 2000 is when we first started to go digital. So early in 2000, I don't have a lot uploaded there yet. 2004, I got my digital camera, so those were easily uploadable. 2005, I did even more. And then you start seeing these little file folders. And I talked before about how you can have an album collecting all of those files or photos from the bottom of your file cabinet and putting them in an album or a file. Well, you can also think of your largest or your top level of albums as actually the entire drawer. So in my drawer of 2006, I have 16 nested albums. So let's look at why I would have 16 nested albums. Well, what I ended up doing is doing 1 album per month. So 2006, 01, 02, all the way through December. But we also had some pretty fun things going on there. So that year I also had an album for the cruise, my pictures, and then other people's pictures from a New York trip. And finally, my dad's 70th birthday party had its own album as well. And so now everything from 2006 lives in here, and it's called 2000 Untagged because yes, I do not have everything tagged from 2006. I'm a little behind, but hopefully that makes you feel like I am no different than you. I just know how to do what I need to do, and I'm working on it, trying to do at least 15 minutes a day in moving forward with getting all of this organized. So in here, I have all of these little albums underneath there. And then here's something kind of weird. You see in March of 2006, I have another nested album. So now we're down 1 more level. So let's take a look at that. And in here, I actually have the 2006 American Girl trip. Now, sometimes nesting more deeply under each month makes sense. Sometimes that can be a little bit confusing. And if I didn't remember that that was in March, I would just search the tag and that would be fine. But sometimes it's easier to move those non-chronological albums out from under so many layers. So I could actually click on this album and I could move it. And all I'm going to do is move it up 1 level. And we're going to move it up to the right year when that one's not it. This was 2000s. We're going to view the nested albums. And in 2000, you can see we have one for each year. And then we know that we have more nested in here, but I actually want to move it up to this level. So I'm going to just move it up to 2006. And now that album has been moved up one level. So let's look again. And in 2006, we have all of the albums from January to December. And then I have now 5 additional albums at that level. Some of this becomes preference. And then when we start doing some genealogy work, it's an entirely different structure. And so I'm going to mention again, each week we're going to give the opportunity for people to submit their personal Forever accounts or their request that we help them with their organization. And we'll spend an hour live helping their stuff get under control. And we'll do some previewing so that we make sure everything that's private stays private. But we'll talk about setting up album structures. So let's go back out to the top to our albums. And hopefully you've got a little bit more of a handle on how to get albums organized from your library. And you're going, all right, yeah, you told me all of that, but the one thing you didn't say is how do I get pictures from my computer into an album? So let's look at that really quickly. Again, you can go ahead and just take any folder you want, any files that you want, and you can upload directly into your library. And that's perfectly fine. But I personally prefer to upload directly into an album. So I'm going to go to albums, and I'm going to go to the 2000s. And I'm going to go to August. Oh, there is no August. So let's create an August album. This is going to be 2020 08. And for some reason in this year, I decided to add the month as part of the name. No reason other than it looked less, it looked warmer than just having the numbers there. So 2020, and that's going to be August. And that is the date range for this album. I could add a description, but I don't really need to. And I'm going to create that album. And now, just like I said before with your library, there are 2 ways to add pictures to this album. The first way, I mean, I could go back to the library, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about getting them from your computer. The first way to get them from my computer is to click on the upload button and then go into my computer and look for pictures that were from August in my pictures file. I'm going to go to pictures. And these are all pictures that are in my pictures file. And I can look for the picture that I wanted to add that was from August. And then I could just click on that photo and say open, and it now is adding it. And this one happens to be a duplicate, which Forever detects. And so it's not going to upload that. And I'm going to say I'm done. So I put it here, but it didn't add it to my account. The number of photos in here did not change. It just took it from the other album it already lived in and moved it into here. And I don't want it in here because it's actually from 2019. So I'm going to delete it. And it says, are you sure you want to move it? And yes, we're going to move that picture to the delete bin. Now, sometimes I know exactly where the pictures are that I want to upload. So I'm going to hit that upload again, but I'm going to go to my file folder down here at the bottom. And I'm going to do that because I know exactly where the pictures are that I want to put in here. And I'm going to go over here and I am going to grab the folder of pictures that I want to move in. And I literally just move this over here and it will copy the entire folder into this album. Now, I am going to stop it because I don't actually need to copy that many into that album right now, but you can see how it's adding them. And when it's all done, it'll tell me that they've uploaded all of these here. So I'm just going to stop that. But again, you see that you can pull the pictures in by hitting upload and going out and finding them on your computer and hitting them in, or you can push them in by hitting upload and going to your folder icon and taking that folder and dropping it right into the upload field. One more thing I want to show you yet today, and we're going to stop a little early today because I really have a dry throat and I don't want to start coughing because it really makes people nervous these days. So you saw that I deleted a few things, and deleting is something that makes some people very nervous because I think probably all of us have made that mistake in the past, or we deleted maybe one step too far. And now we're kind of wondering what to do next. Where did that picture go? Can I get it back? Is it recoverable? Forever understands that. And so going way back over here to your little hamburger, those 3 lines on the side, we're going to look at all the drop downs here, and you'll notice right above sign out, you see the delete bin. I'm going to click on that. In the delete bin, you will see anything that I have deleted in the last 60 days. Files that you delete are here for 2 months, 60 days, and then they are permanently deleted. So if I accidentally deleted something along the way, I can go ahead and recover it. And I just think that is a wonderful, wonderful service that they provide for us, because all of us have gone that, and instead of hitting my first one and then hitting control so I can just pick the ones I wanted, so many times after I've said 15 times in a row, click on the first one, click shift, and click on the last one, I select everything instead of being much more controlled about it. So your deleted album or delete bin is there for you for your protection of your photos. And after 2 months, if you haven't noticed that you deleted them, maybe it was okay that you hit that many. So I am going to close out of this window and stop the screen share. Okay, and back up a little for my camera because I'm really like diving into it here. And I'm just going to check and see if there are any questions from anyone. And if not, I invite you to take a look at the Forever training that I did last Monday, and we'll continue to do on Mondays up through maybe as far as Labor Day. We'll see how it goes. But there's so many things to learn, and we're still just in your Forever account, organizing and finding and being able to see the different things you can have. So next time, we're going to get a little bit deeper into some of the other things that you can do with your account. And we'll also look at audio and video files being stored in your account. So you have those to look forward to. If you didn't get to see last week's, be sure to go back and check it out. You might not need to watch the whole hour, but it might really help you get a handle on having the control over your account and not feeling overwhelmed by all of our photos. While you're checking out that video, you may see that we have a lot available on our YouTube channel. We have worked on really being able to share with you the concept of a photo estate, what it means to create one, and helping you with that process of organizing traditional and digital photos, as well as all the other things that you can encounter. So feel free. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's always fantastic for us to see a new subscriber. And hopefully we can help you not feel overwhelmed, but actually feel the joy of your photos and the stories that they tell. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. In the meantime, I'm Ann Matuszak with Pixologie, and if you need help, pixologieinc.com is here to meet your needs. Have a great week.